Little old guy like me, 19 years old, first panel interview, 30 people. Have any of you been through a 30 people panel? But that is one thing about me. My work ethic was this. If I'm grown enough to go out, I'm grown enough to go to work. So, hey, this is Darwin, and this is GENPOD, the podcast that shows common sense is not that common. I actually try and bring, a little bit of common sense to everyday scenarios that affect, success measures in life. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to building this community, and hopefully you get a lot out of it. Let's jump into a little bit about me, if that's okay. Where do I start? I'm originally from Oklahoma City. So Midwest type upbringing. I did my thing there, went to high school, graduated, went to college, did a semester and a half, but I've always been yearning for like a bigger city type scenario. Not just because of like just big city, but just the opportunities that's provided. So I've always been ambitious. I've always looked at life through a lens of I can do something, right? And it's shown with my success measures. About 19 years old, I moved to Dallas, Texas, D-Town we call it. And it's been great. A lot of pretty much everything you can think of a 19-year-old did, we did, right? It's a group of us, first apartment here, group of 7 of us, all 18, 19 or somethings, starting life. So I've been ambitious, used to many different viewpoints. I've definitely grown accustomed to viewing things through different lenses. I think that could be one of my strengths. I came to Dallas, 19 years old, and, when the fun wore off, I'll say about, 6 months into it, and, had to give me a job. So, entered into corporate America. I'll say the hotel industry is what we'll call it. It's exactly what it was. At that point, it was the largest hotel in Texas. I'll leave the name out of it, but yeah. So, starting out as a reservations agent. So I've got typing skills. Quickly, I was promoted. Before that, all I had was my grandfather's business. I didn't have to leave Oklahoma City, but I got promoted, and people made titles for me, positions. I'm interacting with owners. I'm in the owner's office. At this point, 19 years old, and you could definitely tell I did some great work. With that said, group reservation supervisor, management tapped on the shoulder from the start. So I've had something, obviously in high school, I was Corps Commander, JROTC. So I've had leadership throughout and a mentor throughout my life. Of course, at that age, you don't realize, you just feel like, hey, it's working out for me. But as you get older, you realize that is a talent. And for many different types of people to tap into that talent and tap you on the shoulder and want you to lead, you realize how impactful that is and how impactful you are to multiple people. Outside of even just my careers, the credibility for mentoring, motivating, successful execution have been there, okay? Now, little old guy like me, 19 years old, I'm a department manager. I'm first panel interview, 30 people. 30 people. Have any of you been through a 30 people panel? 30 people. Young guy, cocky, walks in. But they loved me. And listen, I'm used to just getting everything. So next thing I know, I'm told, hey, you're getting a role. And so at this point, I really don't stop to enjoy the successes. You know what I'm saying? You're just doing what you need to do. So, first salaried position. So I'm making more money than people in college. So that's that. I'm managing department of 8 women. I remember one was definitely my grandmother's age as well. So different age groups. That's just how it's been. It was wonderful. Then I wanted to transition into sales because it was lucrative, right? Obviously back then, pharmaceutical sales. I'm born in '80, so if this makes sense, I've been in Dallas 26 years. So, that's probably about 20 around that time. I don't even want to say it. I'm scared to say it. Couple decades, decades in, a quarter of a century, but back to the business. So I went to get sales experience. What did I do? I beat my chest. I'm like, I want to go sell cars. because I wanted to be a sales manager at the hotel and they wanted sales experience. So I left, selling cars. Now this is a little different than, the lifestyle I've been used to, because you're dealing with people with differing backgrounds. But you know what? It was phenomenal. Great people, fatherly type people, live, I'll say kids my age. We were six figures, balling out of control. Limousines, New Year's, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Top in the region there as well. I got promoted into management. Then, a buddy of mine, worked for this technology company and said, you should come here. And I said, what? Doing what? Please, the money I'm making, I don't think they can match it. Anyway, I ended up going, because the grind, car sales, it's a grind. You've got all these hours you're dealing with, literally 6 days a week, sometimes Sunday, Saturdays, 12 hours. And, that's cool. Meaning, drinking 3 to 4 Red Bulls a day. Sometimes, by the way, I'm popular too, or we're popular. So I'm definitely going out as well. So, but that is one thing about me. My work ethic was this: if I'm grown enough to go out, I'm grown enough to go to work. So anyway, with that said, that wears on you. About mid-20s, I'm ready to go anyway. So I went over to this technology company. Huge success. Fortune 10. Huge sales success. I'm just doing my thing, right? And, sales is a part of, relating to people. But what really it is being authentic. I think the more authentic you are, the more it translates and the more business you get from it, okay? So that's my secret sauce. I'm authentic and smart and real, and it relates and get results. Anyway. Number one seller in America. This is huge. America, this is a world company. So I glaze over it. I don't think, hopefully you can understand that, but this is Fortune 10, big leagues, equal opportunity, promoted into management, all the good stuff, top 2% sales managers, awarded. And then I went to marketing. Here's where it transitions me. I go into marketing after all the sales success. Of course, we can talk about that later. You can pull up my bio. Sales and leadership success, making people leaders. I went to marketing, top in marketing dollars there as well. But then you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm seeing, these roles. I'm seeing what I'm tapped to do. And you get a point in life where you just really start thinking about the next stage of life. You should be. And you just start thinking, is this where the role that I want to be in? Am I going to be able to retire from this? You start thinking about all the things that kind of set up your life. So unfortunately, I elected to leave on good standing, of course. I'm not going to ruin 13, 14 years. I got ballsy, meaning I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision, and the time was then. Anyone who's made difficult decisions, obviously, you have to make them. That's what it's about. Not everything's rosy in life. You have to make decisions. You got to get uncomfortable sometimes. And that's told my salespeople, you got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. So I knew it was the time. Stacked up well. I had a plan. I pivoted out. Not pivoted out. Excuse me. The year prior to my departure, I did get my real estate license, so I had that set up for anything that could occur. Had it set up perfectly, had my business. I was shopping, I left. I was opening a business, shopping for brick and mortars back in my hometown, only because the industry there was a little bit more popular than here. And I think that would have been a great first location, in Texas second. Anywho, I left January of 2020. January 2020. Think about that. What happens 3-4 months later? COVID. So could you imagine going through all these years of success, not having to leave, having everything set up well monetarily? You have your business plan, everything's lined up, vendors. You're doing the real deal, shopping for brick and mortars. And then a pandemic happens. First of all, what is that? What is that? Based on my research, I think we only had don't quote me on this, I'm approximate, but I'm pretty close. 9 out of 10 real world pandemics have happened ever. Okay? So definitely hadn't happened in my lifetime. Parents either. So nobody knew what was going on. So me, of course, I'm one of those determined people, and determination has always got me through everything. So I'm still doing my thing with the business. Clear up until about June, And then we know it's like shut down. I was devastated, scared. Because you set up your whole life, consistency, paychecks, what comes with 9 to 5. And these are not too shabby roles. I mean, monetarily, I'm spending and good life. So yeah, what can I say? I was kind of forced into the next stage, which was a blessing, real estate, maximizing that. So I became, vice chair of the Young Professional Networks, NAR, National Association of Realtors, with Metrotech's 5th largest realtor association in America. And then I was appointed again to chairman. So I impressed a few people. So I was running the entire show. I've hosted some of the hottest industry events in Dallas. People fly in for those. Been interviewed by some great press. I've established a really great brand there. I've got vice president titles in a couple scenarios in financial industry currently, VP. And then I also have nonprofit success as a vice president as well. So I come from many different angles of success. So yeah, I have to stop and think about that. Let me get a drink of water. So I gotta tilt my hat to myself with that. So yeah, I'd say I'm qualified. Corporate America, success, real estate, go-to, numbers. I stopped short of guru because that's a bit much, but I'm definitely good at predicting trends. So yeah, needless to say, COVID happened. Okay, so let's back up there. COVID happened. Boy, and can I tell you, I really relied on the American dream. Okay, I'm a believer in that, and I learned it in history. And, equal opportunity, success. People are designed to execute in these roles, not to block anything. Okay, so I really, I was determined. I'm sticking it out. And let's say that determination has done really good for me. But it's also opened my eyes to quite a few things. Things that I'd never, ever, ever experienced. Ignorance, common sense, with some people. Corporate America, we're used to strategy. We're used to dealing with different types of people and executing different personalities. But people have to be rational to a certain point. Not everyone in their role needs to be there, and everyone's accountable to somebody. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you want more, my executive bio is on screen. So I've got the credibility and the authority down. Shouldn't have to say it, but I'm going to say it. Why? Because it's my podcast, and that's what it is. So the basis of my show, guess what, right? We're not going to get overly historical. That's not what this is about. We're going to go through current events. We're going to make it relatable. The group, I'll say it, demographic that's experiencing what I experienced outside of a pandemic. People are shifting, roles are shifting, and people are leaving corporate America. People are scared. People are emailing me for roles, right? People that have been a long time with companies. So I know it's happening. Clear up to 55, 60 years old. And, at that age, you definitely want your insurance. Okay. So this is a scary scenario for people. So what I decided is to provide a path of my knowledge of going through it at a structured leadership management, Fortune 10, Harvard sales success train angle. I'd want to hear from me. So American Dream concepts have come up. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so American Dream, we're going to go through real estate, and I'll back up and elaborate on these. So real estate, we've got business, all things business, which is going to encompass credit. I'll elaborate in a minute. We're going to go through our tech side of things. That's thrown in by me. That's the new generation American Dream, because guess what? Technology is affecting every sector I just talked about. So that's what it is. So that's the new portion of American Dream, and you heard it here first. And then culture, okay? What's a society without culture? All right, so let's back it up. Let's go through the history of American Dream, okay? Without it becoming too historical, I took government, I took history. I don't want to go through that. That's not what this is about. But I think you do need to know a little bit about what it is. The American Dream was developed by migrants. Migrants wanted prosperity. And they came to America for the dream, the freedom, okay? So that's what it's about. Freedom to do whatever you want to do, okay? Equal opportunity. That's where American Dream came from. And that's I want to leave it there because I don't want to get too historical. I think you get the gist of it. American Dream is the root of America, okay? This is not an American Dream podcast. This is GenPod, okay? A generation full of information seeking. And that's what this is about. So that's what I'll touch on history, okay? If you want to know more, you've got multiple ways of determining that through your search engines. Give a little search. Real estate. Real estate helps create generational wealth. You know, for the top 1%, real estate is about 12% of their wealth portfolio, okay? You know what it is for the bottom 50% of Americans? Take a guess. It's pretty much all the wealth for the bottom 50% of Americans. So if you don't have a return in real estate, what do you think's going on with the bottom 50% of America? And I hate to say bottom 50% of America because it's not bottom to it, but this is for income brackets, okay? So that's what it is. You're not a bottom person. So if you don't have a return on real estate, where's the wealth? Wealth, prosperity is a part of the dream. Home ownership, historically, for every generation, has been a part of the American dream. This show is a real estate show as well. We'll be talking about real estate concepts, what's going on. I'll provide my insights, okay? You don't necessarily have to seek out the magazine article to get that, but you can, okay? I'm in different countries. So that's where it's at. It's a real estate show. And you know what? Real estate, we'll get into it. I want to add some more to it, but we'll get into it in another show. You know, people are trying to get their dream going on out in real estate as well, okay? It's not just about the homeowners, but it's the people also executing. So we'll get into that, okay? But real estate is definitely a pillar. All right, so we get to business, okay? Every generation, your grandparents, my grandparents, my parents, people typically want to own businesses, at least from what I'm saying, right? You know, owning a business, it's the American dream. It's work for yourself. With business entrepreneurship, you know, you've got credit granting requirements, right? Credit reporting, credit lines, all this stuff ties into the American dream with the business entrepreneurship side of things. And not only is it going to be entrepreneurship, but it's also going to evaluate everyday business decisions, right? And luckily, I mean, I'm tactful, meaning not every layoff is reckless at all, right? You just have to figure out what's going on. And that's what I plan to do, right? So I have a couple different lenses. So if I was in the position I was in back then, I'd want to have something like this to reference. And eventually, I see myself opening up to, you know, kind of more interactive. But right now, this is delivering the facts. So business, credit, tech. Who hasn't used the Chat GPT? OpenAI. I mean, we've got driverless vehicles now, right? We do. How could you not have the American dream concept without throwing in a new portion of the American dream? Technology. No surprise, AI. Automation to roles, right? That's a big thing. We just got to figure out what's going on, where it's going, okay? So technology, info, news is a part of this podcast, and I'm glad it is. I've got a tech background. I often joke, hey, I helped program the internet, which I truly did. Search, at least. My college class, had to search. I'm dating myself, but I kind of told you my age, I think, in this episode. But we had to use and or. We're literally helping the internet learn how to search. So, yeah, you could thank me. Thank me later. Yeah, thank me and my, the 80s babies. So, yeah, tech's there. And guess what? Culture. Culture is... Life's no fun without culture. Think if we all were in the same line, just walking down the straight line in the street. How boring would that be? How meaningless would that be? A little culture added to it, You'll see some culture references. We all got culture, and we should. Yeah, and that makes my American dream. So, Radar Group, that's a part of the next step. I'm a CEO, okay, of a brokerage, real estate. Each year I'm achieving something. And I'm not saying I'm the blueprint for the American dream, not at all, but I'm living it. And you know what? I know we've got a lot of y'all going through it. Do I go to school? Okay, I got to leave here. What do I do? Insurance, family, stuff like this. And I'm looking forward to helping you get through your American dream and providing the insight that perhaps could take you a few bumps in the road to get, right? Obviously. So yeah, here's to you. Here's to us in accomplishing. Okay? I look forward to going on this journey with you, and I look forward to letting you in on my American dream as well. There's more to come here, and I look forward to that spilling out. With that said, this is Darwin. I'm signing off with GenPod. Remember, common sense is not that common. Until then, I'll see you soon.